I'm sure that you are very tired. No? You had very good dish today? Huh? And there were so many people are sitting here in the morning. Now, all gone. Where have they gone? So, I was thinking that all my effort is going to be in vain. I came with a lot of my own experiences put together. Well, the topic tells me to take from the visible to the invisible. Invisible is a divine part of our own life. Most of us are busy with what is visible, but going to the invisible aspect of our own life is a very challenging. The challenge has to be tackled if you want to make everyone very happy. So my dear friends, since you are not very tired, I'd like to sing one song so that it will make you live. But my students must have been aware of that one. I'm not going to sing any new song, but it is a parcel of our Jesuit way of life. Make me a channel of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me bring your love. And where there is doubt, true faith in you. Oh, Master, grant that I may never sin. So much to be consoled as to console. To be understood as to understand. To be loved as to love with all my soul. Make me a channel of your peace. Is in pardoning that we were pardoned. In giving to all people that we receive, and in dying that we are bound to eternal love. O Master, grant that I may never sin, so much to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love with all my soul. A few years ago, all of a sudden, after blue, I got a phone call from Dr. Abdul Kalam's office. I was told, Mr. Kalam wants to see you with some children. He would like to interact with all of you. Please be there in Rajbhavan. So Mr. Kalam came and we were gathered there. He asked my students, I had taken 50 students from 5 good schools of Patna. Very intelligent children, coming from very decent families. And Kalam asked the first question, how many of you would like to be a teacher? Not a single one raised hand. Anyone of you would like to become a teacher? Professor in St. James College? No. The second question he asked, how many of you would like to become an engineer? 100%. All. The third question he asked, how many of you would like to become agriculture engineer? So Kalam said, these are the two sources of our life. A teacher teaches the children to get good job. And the farmers bring food for all of us from the agriculture sector. But we are not ready to do these two things. Recently I repeated in one of the seminars to our students at St. Xavier's the same response. The professors who had come from Patna University are surprised to see this. Yes, this is the world. We hear every day farmers are committing suicide. They are not well taken care of. We forget that they are the source of our life. The second question, the second part of his interaction, he asked the students, who is your model? One boy said, my parents. So he gave 45 marks. Another boy said, my primary school teacher. So he gave 65 marks. Third boy was very shrewd. He asked, to get 100 marks, who should be my model? He was asking back to Kalam. So Kalam smiled and he said, look, my dear students, you choose anyone as your model. Make sure that they have certain spirituality. My dear friends, today we are here to listen to all our speakers on a particular topic saying food is precious. What we are missing is the spiritual aspect of our own life. We fail to see the food is something precious. But in our Indian tradition, God comes into our life in the form of food. We call it Anno Maya Bhagavan. Now this food is transformed into life. Prano Maya Bhagavan. This life energizes our brain, the mind. Mano Maya Bhagavan. When the one is good and the mind is healthy, then we receive the wisdom. Jnano Maya Bhagavan. Once you become very wise, you are free from all these clutches of this world. So you experience the greater happiness, the bliss, Anandamaya Bhagavan. My dear friends, food is precious for all of us. If you want to see God, only in food. So in our Indian tradition, we also see every religion is talking about this food. Just now expressed how in Hinduism we see the food and the connection between food and God. You take a Sikhism. Sikhism will say, earn and eat, kamakar khao. But share and eat means bhankar khao. So like that, we can see the spiritual aspect of all our Indian religions. India is a very spiritual country. I have gone various shrines. Haridwar, Rishikesh, Mathura, Rameshwaram. I come from that area. So definitely I am aware of all those. Madurai, here Arunachal Pradesh. And all religious, even Ajmer and Christian shrines, everywhere I have seen, I see people are begging at the entrance of these temples. For what? Food. I go for morning walk in Ganimeda. I see number of people sitting and begging. I see not only the people, I see the cows, the holy animal on the road looking for food. I see the dogs. I see the donkeys. I saw the used, the old and retired horses also. They are all looking for food. Food is very precious. Those who don't have food and shelter and clothes, we call them poor. So the Pope calls all of us to reflect upon this so-called poor. He asked all of us to celebrate Day of the Poor on 19th November this year. Our former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi's birthday. He invited the entire world to celebrate this day every year hereafter. This year is the very first observance of such a day. In a message which was released last June, he says, I invite men and women of good will everywhere to turn their gaze on this day to all those who stretch out their hands and plead for our help and solidarity. They are our brothers and sisters, created and loved by the one Heavenly Father. This day is meant, above all, to encourage believers of all faiths to react against a culture of discord and waste, and to embrace the culture of encounter. At the same time, everyone, independent of religious affiliation, is invited to openness and sharing with the poor through concrete signs of solidarity and fraternity. God created the heavens and the earth for all, yet sadly some have erected barriers, walls and fences, betraying the original gift meant for all humanity, with none excluded. His message is based on the theme, let us love, not with words, but with deeds, which underlines the importance of concrete and substantial actions. As special days go all through the year, this World Day of the Poor is bound to see plenty of programs for the poor. It will truly be a day for giving and receiving. He challenges all to a change in attitude towards the poor. He emphatically says, we may think of the poor simply as the beneficiaries of our occasional volunteer work or acts of generosity that appease our conscience. However, good and useful such acts may be for making us sensitive to people's needs and the injustices that are often their cause. They ought to lead to a true encounter with the poor and a sharing that becomes a way of life. In his message, he emphasizes, he invites all to look at the face and consequences of poverty, which suffocate millions of people across the world. We know how hard it is for our contemporary world to see poverty clearly for what it is. Yet, in myriad ways, poverty challenges us daily in phases marked by suffering, marginalization, oppression, violence, torture and imprisonment, war, deprivation of freedom and dignity, ignorance and illiteracy, medical emergencies and shortage of work, trafficking and slavery, exile, extreme poverty and forced migration. Poverty has the face of women, men and children, exploited by base interests, crushed by the machinations of power and money. What a bitter and endless list we would have to compile, where add the poverty, one of social injustice, moral degeneration, the greed of a chosen few, and generalized indifference. He lays bare a challenge tragically in our own time. Even wealth accumulates in the hands of the privileged few, often in connection with illegal activities and the appalling exploitation of human dignity. There is a scandalous growth of poverty in broad sectors of society throughout our world. Faced with this scenario, we cannot remain passive, much less resigned. There is a poverty that stifles the spirit of initiative of so many young people by keeping them from finding work. There is a poverty that dulls the sense of personal responsibility and leaves others to do the work while we go looking for favors. There is a poverty that poisons the wells of participation and allows little room for professionalism. In this way, it demeans the merit of those who do work and are productive. To all these forms of poverty, we must respond with a new vision of life and society. The World Day of the Poor should also be a wake-up call for all of us. to realize that poverty in our world today is man-made. He reminds us that we need to react against a culture of discord and waste. Like Jesus, Buddha, Gandhi and Jayaprakash of our own land, we need to embrace the culture of encounter by walking with the poor. Above all, to respond with a new vision of life and society based on justice, equity, fraternity and solidarity with the poor. I'd like to express my own concern on the importance of food. The poverty comes when you lack food. When you lack food, the poverty comes into your life. Food is an essential part of everyone's lives. It gives us the energy and nutrients to grow and develop, be healthy and active, to move, work, play, think and learn. Because eating is a religious activity for us Indians. Anywhere we go, we look for food. Any functions, any gatherings, food becomes a central place. We go to the temples for puja and wherever we go, we look for prasadi. So what I mean to say, it has something connected with godliness and holiness of our own life. In the developing world, on the other hand, many people suffer from hunger or undernutrition, whereby they do not have enough food. When I was going to college, I saw a man gathering leftover food in the empty plates near the hotel. The washing is going on, and he was collecting and then flowing water, something to live. I got stunned to see that. So many good, well-off people are going and eating, and they come out, and the pipe comes from there, and he was collecting the food which was coming. I felt that he's also my brother, and none of them look at that guy. You know, this is the situation we often see, but our heart doesn't get broken. Now this hunger, how to? The world produces enough food. Who said? Gandhi said, for everyone. But yet, every 5 seconds, a child dies of hunger or malnutrition. Over 800 million people still go to bed hungry. Why so? Chronic hunger takes the lives of 24,000 people each day. 10.9 million children under the age of 5 die in developing countries each year. Malnutrition and hunger-related diseases cause over 60% of these deaths. What are the hungry? Where are the hungry? As you can see from the world hunger map, hunger exists all over the world. However, the majority of undernourished people live in the developing countries and earn less than 300 rupees a day. Over 314 million of the world's countries live in South Asia. This is more than the population of Australia and the United States of America. Sub-Saharan Africa also has a huge number of hungry people, with over 30% of population being undernourished. The majority of hungry people in these countries are children under the age of 5. Why is there hunger? There are many widely held myths regarding the cause of hunger, which mislead people and keep us from collectively helping to end hunger. 3 main problems is: 1. Many people do not have access to the resources to produce or purchase enough food. Access and not quality is therefore the problem. Reason 2. Hunger is caused by famine and natural disasters, which cannot be controlled by people or the food they lack sufficient. 3. Hunger is one of the real causes of overpopulation too. The principal cause of hunger, the real cause of hunger are poverty, war, gender discrimination, damaged environment. Indian situation and effort to take action. According to Hindustan Times, around 67 million tons of food is wasted in our country every year, which has a value of around 92,000 crore rupees, and is enough to feed all of Bihar for a year. This value equals nearly 2/3 of the amount that the government needs to feed 600 million poor Indians with subsidized ration under the National Food Security Program. Here are some more alarming facts that show how much food wastage there actually is. India wastes as much food as is consumed by the United Kingdom, says the CSR journal. Nearly 40% of the total produce is wasted every year in the country. Each year, around 21 million metric tons of wheat rots in India. The figure is almost equal to Australia's total annual production. To produce the food which ultimately gets wasted, India is estimated to use more than 230 cubic kilometers of fresh water annually, enough to provide drinking water to 100 million people a year. And these figures aren't just affecting the nation's economy and the environment. This grim reality points out another major issue in India. This is nothing but hunger. According to a UNICEF report, 1/4 of the world's undernourished live in our country. India ranks 55 out of 76 countries on the Global Hunger Index, lagging behind much poorer neighbors like Nepal 44 and Sri Lanka 39. According to a report published by charity organization, the number of hungry people has increased by 65 million between the year 1990 to 2005. Now it will be much more, which sums to be more than the entire population of France. According to a survey, around 20 crore Indians sleep hungry on every night. After going through the statistics, one thing is certain, that India produces enough food to feed everyone. However, we have got to realize that in order to feed more, we need to waste less. Though we are aware of the fact that only the government can take major actions to prevent food wastage in India, we on a personal level can act more proactively to minimize it. Too much distraction. Food is being wasted at the harvest point and during transportation. If the same food which is wasted can be processed, it would mean it would either be available in raw form or in bottled form at a price which is affordable to the Aam Aadmi. Food wastage cripples the country's economy to an extent that most of us are unaware. If food is wasted, there is so much waste of water used in agriculture, manpower and electricity lost in food processing industries, and even contributes to the deforestation. Taking all of into consideration, the actual worth of money per year in India from food wastage is estimated at a whopping rupees 58,000 crore. Some measures that the government needs to take include containing wastage in transportation, improve storage facilities. The cold storage chain is 50% less than required, and that too needs to be brought up to the world standards. Food processing also needs to be sped up so food is saved and wasted less to feed more. Here is what one can do on a personal level to contain the food wastage. There are two types of desires. One is a low desire, another one is a higher level desire. Higher level desires tells you, think how much you can eat and take that. Take a little bit little. Don't crowd the stuff on your plate, because that lower desire leads you to that. Afterwards you find it very difficult to finish the plate, and that goes into the waste box. So you need to have a concern for others. You need to think there are millions of people go hungry every day. So let me not waste. So use the green vegetables. Don't grow out fruits and veggies with aesthetic only blemished. Use canned and bottled food before expiry dates. Reuse the refrigerated leftovers for the very next meal. Even if food gets spoiled, then compose it. If you work in an office that has a canteen, check with them on how they manage excess food. Cooked food, especially since it has a low shelf life, needs to be managed better and faster. Check with the NGOs who offer to transport excess food to the needy. If you host a family get-together, either at home, a marriage hall, or throw a party at a hotel, make sure you plan for the food left over to be transported to a place like an orphanage or an old age shelter. Make finishing your plate a habit. When you sit for when you take food, make sure that you finish it everything. Nothing should be left out. If you leave, if you throw, it is a sin. You are throwing God. You are not aware of your religious spirit. So our motto is love food and hate waste, and love God. God bless you all. Thank you.